Democratic Congressman Tim Ryan of Ohio. Sir, thank you so much for your time.
Great to be with you.
First, the deal, so our audience members who may not know some of the so-called highlights here. One of the things that Republicans have pushed back on, but Democrats have applauded, a reduction in the automatic spending cuts known as the sequester by $63 billion. The deal raises a cap on discretionary spending to just over $1 trillion. Now, some of the pushback from those within your party who are concerned that this does not deal with the extension of unemployment insurance and that it increases pension contributions by new Fed employees and increases fees for airline travelers. What is your assessment of this deal so far?
Well, we're still looking at all of the details. We have a briefing at 4 o'clock on the with the Budget Committee, and I want to get a chance to talk to my colleagues, too. I haven't had a chance to really see today. But at the end of the day, I think you articulated the concerns. I mean, we have 3 Americans applying for every 1 job that's available. So to knock 1.3 million of those people off the unemployment insurance rolls a couple days after Christmas, I think is insensitive, and I don't know how smart that is economically either. And then in the next 6 months, 1.9 million. So I'm very concerned about that. But as Speaker Pelosi or Leader Pelosi stated earlier in your segment, there have been some cuts that were restored to non-defense discretionary programs in education and others. So while there are still cuts, those cuts aren't as severe as what the sequestration would administer. So, you know, at this point, I want to... It's a tough call. You could almost argue this thing either way, but we don't want another government shutdown. So I want to learn more over the next few hours before I make a decision tomorrow.
Yeah, the president has called this a good first step. To your point, I think a lot of members of Congress are still digesting the details, and that would be the case for the American public, who are just learning some of these details as well and trying to figure out what this does mean regarding our budget conversation, as well as what this will or will not do regarding the upcoming debt ceiling debate that we will see again in the summer. But I want to show you some of the poll numbers out. Our new NBC News Wall Street Journal poll shows that 51% of Americans believe that this is one of the worst Congress that they've seen. Do you believe that members of Congress, yourself included, are taking notice to the lack of confidence that people have with our members of Congress, and perhaps this deal that was brokered is a show of good faith that compromise does exist, that perhaps if you have some Democrats who aren't happy, some Republicans who aren't happy, that means that you men and women are willing to take one on the chin so that compromise can exist?
Well, let's be clear. A lot of those polling numbers reflect the lack of leadership of Speaker Boehner, the infighting within the Republican Party, the radicalization of the Republican Party, the extremism of the Tea Party. That's what's reflected in those poll numbers, because that is exactly what has polarized Congress. But I do think, as a body and as a member of this body, we are looking to try to get and generate some momentum for larger deals that may come down the pike, and try to start stitching this thing back together, because we are at a low point, I think, in our country's history, at least in modern history. So that's one of the elements you have to look at. You go through all the programs, you go through all the money, the investments that are or are not made, and at the end of the day, look at the big picture. How do we start generating some momentum for us to start legislating again and doing our jobs again?
Well, you mentioned your concerns regarding the leadership of Speaker Boehner here. Do you have any confidence, if Democrats find that they can compromise on this deal, some of the things they do not like, some of the things they do, that Speaker Boehner can rally his caucus, or will he yet again see the most conservative in the House beat him back?
Well, I do think there's going to be some Democrats who will be supportive of this, but at the end of the day, this is coming out of a Democratic Senate, so you have to look at the Democrats as a whole. If it gets out of the Democratic Senate, then it's Speaker Boehner's job, really, as leader of the majority, to be able to produce the votes here on this side. But I think there will be Democratic House members who do vote for this. I'm not sure where I'm personally going to be until I look a little closer at it, but let's hope that we can get off to a good start for 2014.
That is a great hope to have. Thank you so much, sir, for your time. We greatly appreciate it.
Great.